All right, so we have the Town of Bay Harbor Islands Town Council meeting called to order at 8:43 p.m. And we have a call to, let's see, Pledge of Allegiance. We already did it, but we'll do it again. I mean, did we do it? No. Okay, so we'll skip that. All right. But we didn't do, there's no roll call here, so...
Don't report us, all right? No, Lindsay?
I have to do the roll call.
Yeah, but it's not on here, so it's okay.
I did the wrong thing.
It's all right.
Councilmember Saber.
Here.
Councilmember Yaffe.
Here.
Councilmember Reed. Here. Councilmember Morano, she's here, she's walking back. Councilmember Fuller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bruder. Here. Mayor Leonard.
Here.
All present.
All right, we have a quorum. Request for withdrawals, deferments, future agenda items. Anyone?
Yeah, we're going to have one change on it, so let's pull 1A.
We'll pull 1A. Well, that's on the consent agenda, so I'll remember it. You got it. So, okay. Any other? I'd like to, for next meeting, propose a resolution urging the Florida Legislature to enact SB 120 or HB 45, the Florida Competitive Workforce Act, prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. So I'll give the clerk that resolution for next month. Anything else here? None.
Just a minute.
Yeah?
Mr. Sherman suggested that by next meeting we may have something to look at in the vacation rentals area. So I would like all of us to take a look and weigh in on that. So if we can put that on the next meeting agenda, that would be great.
Sure. Great. All right. Anything else? If not, we're going to go to council reports. We're going to start on this end. Ms. Morano, you're first.
I'm sorry, whether we could...
Your council report.
Oh, can we do without these reports, and so that this way we can have an easy meeting and not be so stressed at the end at 11 o'clock? Let's
So
just
you
forget
can-
it. We don't need to say what we did.
So that's your council report. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Councilmember Reed, you're up.
Okay.
Sure.
I can't remember quite everything. It was since the last meeting, but I will say that I was very energized to attend Friday's Best Practices, and I was especially energized, Mr. Mayor, with your moderation of the Citizen-Driven Resource Allocation seminar, which was basically an explanation of how the strategic planning, how it ties into the budget, and what I've been trying to explain for a couple years and really couldn't, so I appreciate that. And I want to thank JC for hanging out in that meeting from beginning to end, and I saw you taking copious notes, so I'm sure you'll be very helpful. And we also had other staff members who attended, the manager, Mr. Short, the police chief, JC, and I think it was a great time. Other topics that I attended were age-friendly resources, and also positive police contacts, and shortly I expect that we will be having a Crime Watch event for citizens, so I look forward to that. Thank you.
That's good. All right.
Okay, real quick, yeah, I went to the Best Practices Conference as well. It was very nice, great displays, et cetera, everything Kelly said. Earlier, actually in late September, I had the opportunity to attend the Florida Municipal Loan Council quarterly board meeting, which I was at which I was reappointed as chair of the Florida Municipal Loan Council. After that, in the same weekend, I also attended the board of directors meeting for the Florida League of Cities. We had a fairly robust agenda. We approved the budget, which is, getting pretty close to $40 million per year. It's just an immense league, and it's the largest league in the country. Even though Florida's not the largest state, we have the largest league in the country. And it's amazing what we do for cities. And let's see what else. I think I had the Children's Trust budget committee meeting, and it went very well.
Very good. All right. Josh?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Bob?
Nothing to report.
First of all, Halloween is coming up, and on the 30th, we are having our second annual Halloween party. It is going to be on King Concourse at, I think, 5 o'clock? What time do they start? What time are we
It
starting?
starts at the school at 3:15, and it'll end at 5:30.
Right,
So we get over to
5:30, and also, just please remember that, on the 31st, there are a lot of children walking around, and to please be careful. Also, in November, Prashnik is having its second annual Diamonds and Diapers benefit for Lotus House, which is a shelter.
Margulies.
Right. It is a shelter for women, and they are looking for donations of packages of diapers. And that event is from 6 to 9 on November 12th. And I would like, maybe we can put a little something in our newsletter, about this wonderful event.
Sure, we've done stuff for other businesses.
Okay.
That's great. And I'll be brief. I'll mention the best practices as Councilmember Reed mentioned. I did attend, and I did have the privilege of moderating one of the sessions related to budgeting and citizen-driven budgeting. In fact, some of my former colleagues were on that panel, including the current budget director for Miami-Dade County, one of the top staff members to the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, and the assistant city manager for Miami Beach, and then, of course, also the manager of the city of Miami. So it was a very good panel, and in fact, actually, I was also very intrigued about the very good panel discussion about cameras, body cameras for law enforcement officers. So it was actually really great. And I think it was mentioned, but this is our 5th year for the league doing it. It's really great to have so many people come out for different cities, but it's a great opportunity for us to learn what other cities and other individuals are doing and hear from experts. And to have, over 300 people come every year, it's really incredible that we get that kind of quality discussion going. And we're one of the only places, I think, in certainly not just South Florida, but in Florida, I don't know anyone else that actually has such a conversation every year, and this is our 5th year doing it, so it's really great. Moving on, we're going to go to the town manager's report.
I'll try to be very brief.
Yeah.
Community center. We've gotten through the dirt permitting. We're just waiting to get right through the fire department. You would think that they're right next door. It would be a really easy process, however, it's not. With that said, I'm really trying to get a groundbreaking ceremony scheduled in October, and I think we'll get that. One of the things I do want to bring up to you is some of the costs. I've received a preliminary draft cost estimate of the finishes that everybody saw and some of the comments that were fed in and little changes and tweaks that we made to the project. It has increased it somewhat by about $200,000, which was not totally unexpected. If we wanted to go for a little more of the high-end finish like terrazzo and some of those other finishes, it's going to just be a little more expensive. We can always go back if we want to stay and knock that off. We'll be going down to, more vinyl and kind of things like that, but at that time, I think I would recommend we stay with what we have, and we'll come to that. Another thing that JC and I will be looking at tomorrow is furniture that we'd be looking to, bring into the center and equipment. The guesstimate on that by Stantec was about $150,000, and I'm working on a grant to get that money. I'm pretty confident that I will get that, so I just wanted to let you know that. The library, we've been really meeting fast and furious with that, and I know the mayor had a meeting that kind of kick-started that with the county, and they're very interested. We should be expecting a proposal from them very soon. I was trying to get it for this meeting, but they just couldn't do it.
Can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
One of the things I'd like to mention with that is, even though that it's something that I've been very supportive of, I don't want to leave it to just being that we have to go with the county. I've had discussions with the county as far as, possible ways to maybe do it a different way. And one of the things that actually, believe it or not, came through a league conference is the possibility of having a private company do it. And if the council agrees, I'd like to have staff be able to start looking into that. I've had conversations with at least one company, and I'd like to have staff look at the possibility, the implications of what it would cost and the benefits, not just for the county, but also that. And to, because to be quite honest, there's probably good and bad on both sides, but I'd like to have staff look at that if that's okay.
What
Yeah.
would the implications be if it were run by a private company in terms of being able to, go to other library branches? I mean, if we're not part of the Miami-Dade system,
The
then...
materials, do we have access?
Yeah, I mean, if we did it ourselves, that it would be private to our residents. So in other words, you wouldn't be able to go to a county library system unless if we continued to have paid that system. But most likely, you can do both, or you can just have it private. But one of the benefits is that the library would be reserved just for Bay Harbor residents. So that's one thing. Also, the funding mechanism, going through the county, we would have to join the district, and we would be at their mercy as far as how much they would set a millage rate. We can either do it several ways. One is incorporating in general revenue dollars. We can also do it, the possibility, and then again, stress the possibility of a special taxing district, this possible legislation at the county to allow us to do that.
I don't have any objection to looking into it, but at the moment, I'm not favorably disposed to it.
Yeah.
I don't have an objection to the study.
And let me ask you were saying as far as being able to restrict it to just Bay Harbor residents, how would that be affected by the grant for the community center itself?
Right.
That's another...
We'd have to explore that, but just so you know, we went ahead with the community center with the idea that the library was not going to be there, with the idea that if they came in the future, we could accommodate it, and that's how we designed the space. Some of the little modifications we made, quite honestly, it works for the library system, but it actually works for us also. It's a better design. With the little movement that they made for the kitchen and some of the moving that central plaza area, shifting it a little bit to the east, it really makes the space work better for us. And if in the future, whether we go with a library, we don't go with one, private or public, we just have to see how it all lays out. But
Is there a cost to studying this? What you
What?
want to do, looking into it, or...
Oh, no, I would have to meet with a private provider, whoever that is, and just get it was from the league?
Yeah, there was an individual that has a company that services other municipalities and counties, but I'm sure that if we actually chose to go through that, I'm sure there are other people that do this type of thing, but I thought it was interesting that there is such a possibility. And I was actually intrigued by the possibility of providing a higher quality service for a lower cost, that if we could actually, the actual dollars of what we would tax residents would be lower, and we would have a better quality product. I'm willing to listen, so,
Yeah,
So-
I'm willing to listen too, but I use a library, and I search the database of the whole county. And I usually use Sunny Isles, sometimes I go to 75th Street, and I'd say half of the time I have to order the materials, whether they're books or audio, video. So I feel like, having that membership gives us access to the whole county so much, I can't imagine that we'd be able to have just the inventory here. That's my main
No, I mean,
concern.
the county's going to continue funding the library at all. That's the only
No,
problem.
but you're in the same boat. I mean, my family, we use the library every week. I mean, we're always in the library, and, one of the things that company mentioned, what I thought was interesting is, they hit it on the nail, that the standard time for the county to get a book to us could be 2 weeks. They have a process that they cut it down to 2 days. So they do it and they do it cheaper, apparently. So, these are the types of things I'm actually interested in hearing how they do it, and like you said, what type of quality material do we have to start everything from scratch? Would we be able to merge with how they do it in other areas? Is it all collective? That's the kind of stuff I'd like to find out about. Also,
I'm not clear. Being we took that 500,000 and we opened up the community center, and now you put in the library, and if you go private and you have to close it, is that what's going to happen, or you're
The only
going to
way,
fix that?
the only way we would have the library from Miami-Dade is if we join the system.
But I mean, I would like to stay with Miami-Dade County, but I'm saying, he's talking about a private one. Do we have to, and he wants to keep it just for Bay Harbor. We can't do that under one roof, can
Nothing
we?
prohibits us from looking at it, but I don't know, I'd have to really,
But I mean,
I
what
can't, off
would
the top of my
happen
head, I
with
can't
that
answer
grant?
that one.
Yeah, that
I'd have to reconstruct
500,000.
and redesign the space and could have the separate entrance to the library.
We'll see.
You were going to.
Right, that's my question. I just want to see what we're able to do before we even start going. Also, let me ask you, as long as we're trying to push the thing along as well, coffee stand, snack bar, whatever else, whatever we're deciding within that, I mean, do we have to start advertising for bids soon, so we don't delay anything?
We have time.
Okay.
Last thing, the LED lighting around the town. The perimeter road engineering has been completed, and they can start in late November, early December. However, the interior engineering got handed off and kind of got lost in the sauce. The new engineer is just, and there is more to engineering the interior roads because it's pulling wire. We installed a lot of infrastructure for that. In the interior streets, we have the old concrete poles that will be replaced, and all that overhead string wire will be gone. But they will be able to complete that in March. My feeling was I didn't really want to do it and like start it, stop, and have two really opposing light systems at the same time. If you have it for a long period, I'd rather them just start it and finish it. So I'm suggesting that we start it in January and just run it through to March and then be completed. To have two, like, to go from LED light to the other type of light, I don't think is wise to do, so.
When are we
That's-
getting our...
I often get asked the question, when is the bridge project gonna be over?
Never. No, actually, this project, hopefully in about 280 days. The only reason it's taking a little longer than right now, we're about 4 months longer, is because the additional work. Sorry. Oh God, I had that.
How many days are we into it?
About 200 days.
Oh, we're 200 days into it already?
We had a year and a half, like, for 588 days. We've added about easily 4 months of work to it. We have replaced almost half of the beams that carry the roadway. We took an inspection the other day, and it's really a tremendous undertaking to lift the road and put in a new beam and then drop it down. And that's one of the reasons why the traffic flow continues to be one lane at this time.
And how long are we going to be closed from 11 to 6?
That's going to take about another 2 weeks. It'd be this week and plus another 2 weeks. The only reason it takes so long is...
You mean, no, but not in a row?
No, not in a row. No, it's going to be, like, let's say, Sunday to Thursday, Sunday to Thursday, Sunday to Thursday.
Oh, it is?
The machine cannot operate
To get back.
underneath the bridge to pull out these. Matter of fact, the crane that we're going to use, it's too small to pull out. There were some tremendous concrete beams that they could not determine how far they went down. The crane they had could not shake them loose. So there's a new crane out there now that's much bigger that will be pulling them out. And it's basically what it's like. Extracting teeth. And to do this work, even on the outside during the day, there's just so much boat traffic back and forth. It's just a real dangerous operation to have all that stuff going on in a small space. And we're only doing one leaf opening most of the time, which makes it even more really harrowing. If you know, the Bay Harbor Island Bridge Canal, the ICW, is not at a 90-degree angle.
Right.
It's actually more like at a 70-degree angle. So when you're coming through it, you don't have the full width of a half opening. You don't have that full width, and it gets pretty crazy. You know, I've seen some of those boats. Come real kind of crazy, yeah.
280 days.
280, we've added at least about 4 to 5 more months of work, which they're pretty much almost completing.
So we'll have another year.
280 days.
280 days plus.
280 days. I'm not gonna, you said 10 months.
Let's just hope they don't find anything else.
Mojave.
That's my report. Very good.
Wait, when are the lights?
Good thing you were brief.
When are the lights for the Halloween coming?
That should start at the end of the month.
But before Halloween.
Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving.
The intention was for it to be right before Thanksgiving so we can light it up.
Right before Thanksgiving.
But they're they told me by the end of October.
All right.
All right, do we have, next we have public comment. Any public comment?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
First we have, Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, first.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Kennedy, and Isaac, I once heard you say, as you were coming over the bridge one time when they built the Carroll Walk, I had an epiphany. We would never, I think some of you might remember this statement, I will never see a high building again in this town. And here you go, and last week I was so proud of what you did, and today you made a complete turnaround. I don't get it. But anyway, that said, I would like to continue. I'd like to give thanks to Ron Watson for the flowers in Bay Harbor. I would like to thank J.C. for the bus. Thank you. And I know there's some stuff coming up here tonight that's very important. It's for the citizens. And I don't know if anybody has seen this. It's the Sun newspaper. It's the city manager, Miller, resigns. And there's one paragraph in there that really stuck out to me, and if I'm allowed to read it, I would like to. And it says, oh, wait, my glasses. Stop the clock. No, keep the clock going because I'm brief. But it was really, and by the way, I put a call into her. She says the following: as executive director of the Hallandale Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, she guided construction of single-family homes on nuisance and neglected properties. Her program built homes and helped first-time home buyers qualify for low-interest loans. The program continues to return properties to the tax rolls. Under Mrs. Miller's leadership, and this is the item I want to get through tonight, the city retired the old city logo and rebalanced it with a vibrant new logo and proclaims that the city's progressive attitude with a bold tag that reads, progress, innovation, and opportunity. Mrs. Miller said she would stay on until she finds somebody. What I'm trying to say is, she was listening to the citizens. She was not listening to developers and council. She was helping everybody. And I would like to know why Ron doesn't kind of always speak for the citizens. Why does it always have to be his way or that way?
Excuse me, Ms. Kennedy.
Go ahead.
Please, with all due respect, please don't make disparaging remarks against council or staff. That would be kind of...
Today I met Mr. Fong, and I'd like to know if that case has been settled. And I met with Dr. Rodriguez today, the principal of Bay Harbor Islands, and I have a lot to say, so I would like to ask for an extra minute so I can talk to the council about it. If it's possible, Mr. Mayor.
No, Ms. Kennedy, please, I'm going to give everyone the same amount of time to speak because we have an agenda and we have to end at 11
no problem,
p.m.
sir.
Okay, so...
Look, you stop the clock so I can get a...
I mean, is there any update with the Fong case that I don't know? I'm sorry, I gotta ask this one.
Yeah, sure. We obtained an order a couple of years ago. We obtained an order, I want to say earlier this year, in about May, requiring further compliance, for which they complied with. I've left the case open.
Yeah, that's what
to make sure that we can enforce this anytime we need to. It's my understanding at the present time we don't need to enforce anything, but we have the order. As a matter of fact, probably so long as we don't have anything to enforce, I may have the court dismiss the case while retaining jurisdiction to enforce its prior two orders.
Okay.
I hope that we're not getting any more invoices because Mr. Fong has not heard from Mr. Simone in 5 years because he filed a federal lawsuit and everything was put to bed. So,
just so we're all clear, we obtained further relief of the court in I believe it was May of this year, and had them comply again. The only invoices that we've ever submitted with regard to that case is when we've had to march into court.
Yeah.
We did that this year, and we did that 4 years ago, and that's been it.
Yeah.
And it was not a result of any federal law.
Excuse me, Mr. Simone, can you email me the order? that you
Sure, I'd be happy to. There are actually two orders.
Thank you.
On that.
Okay.
And let me tell you, Judge Cueto has looked them in the eyes and said, don't let me see you here again. So we have no problem getting further relief from the court anytime we want. we've essentially bypassed code enforcement completely with them.
Okay, thank you.
And we have support from the people in the West Island who are being harassed by code enforcement, which are really elderly women that are getting harassed in the West Island, and I would like to discuss that too. That's why I asked for an extra minute.
You can,
So what we currently see is code compliant at that location?
all right, well,
What you currently see is no violations that we can go to court
That you can
and cite them with.
right.
There are some vehicles parked in his driveway, but since they're in his driveway, there's not much we can do.
Yeah.
They are in the driveway and in the swale. But there's nothing else in the backyard at the moment.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Who knows what tomorrow will bring, however, and that's why we've kept the case open, and that's why the judge has been very happy to give us whatever we want, and Ron can certainly attest to that. He's been there.
Well, maybe people are talking on the phone, so maybe they'll be inclined to send us a check for the money they owe us. So, next is Mrs. Newhut, please. You're up for public comment.
Mrs. Newhut, Fran?
This is your opportunity to speak for public comment. Do you wish to speak?
Fran.
Mrs. Newhut.
Princess Newhut, 9920 West Broadview Drive. Unlike the majority of municipalities, and an election day 7 years ago, November 8th, 2008, Election Day, November 2nd, 2015, is once more going to be depriving Bay Harbor Island citizens the right to vote on having term limits and an elected mayor. During the following past 7 years, the town changing to paper ballots and the continuation of a possible dysfunctional election system, incumbents and appointees winning every time, that this may also have affected the turnout of citizens and resident participation. Hello, residents participating. Therefore, what happened to citizen and resident participation of the following committees? What happened to the Education Committee? Why have we been told that the school is no longer rated number 1, is overcrowded, removing the basketball courts supposedly temporarily, for additional classrooms, locking school gates at all times, and possibly eliminated providing standard school facilities to services, elimination of the town's 30-year contract of a joint use agreement with the school. And I wish you would listen. Hello, I mean, come on. The Disaster Preparedness Committee, the Charter and Ordinance Review Committee. Why had council eliminated this particular committee for 10 years, and instead having ordinance changes at every council meeting by council? Eliminating the litigation, well, not eliminating the litigation committee, but when was the last time they had a meeting? And why are the same 3 council members, who I am looking at for I don't know how long, always listed on this particular committee? Why don't we have new council members? Why don't we have Ms. Bruder, or Doris, or someone else? I'm tired of the litigation committee with those 3 men. Enough with the men. What happens to the large numbers of citizens and residents that used to participate at public hearings, public meetings, workshops, and charrettes? We had a public hearing. How many people, citizens, come to these meetings anymore? It's a disgrace. By allowing council members to stay in office too long with no threat of term limits appears to give them the right to ignore, shut out, confuse, or just make all of us feel uncomfortable, or inadequate to attend these public meetings. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Victor Maya.
You want me to help you? Oh. He wants me to help him.
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street, and Kathleen is going to whisper in my ear the comments that I was going to make here. Go ahead, whisper.
I don't understand.
You have 3
You-
minutes.
I think he wants to give you some of his minutes.
Trying to give you the minute that our mayor really should have gone ahead and given you out of courtesy. I understand he's trying to run a schedule, so on and so forth.
I'm a little slow. Thank you.
But,
Go.
so I've got 2:54 left, so go ahead and whisper my ear.
You are so kind. I was in the gym, thank you. I was in the gym and I heard mothers talking about that their kids were being grounded, that they were getting Fs in school, a wonderful school. And that really bothered me. I did call Jordan and I called Stephanie. And thank you for what you've done, which is the reason why I went to Dr. Rodriguez today. And we're going to work on some wonderful initiatives to change all of that. And I don't like what I see. I don't like what I hear from parents. So that's why we talked about the traffic jam of the 99 rooms and the kids getting to school on time and all that good stuff. And the rest I have to keep to myself. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're closing public comment. Vice Mayor?
I would like to explain a couple things about the school.
Please.
Okay, first of all, we are an A school. We are still an A school. I have sat on the ESACS committee, which, for many years, and the way that it works is that every year, as we are an A school, what they require for us to do is to keep going higher and higher. You get to a certain level, and there's nowhere to go. So it is very common to drop, but we have not dropped from an A. But sooner or later, so that you know, we will drop because, you know, every year they ask you to go up 5 and 10%. We've been an A school for many, many years. As far as the Fs, Dr. Rodriguez and I had a discussion about that. Part of it is the homework load. She has directed the teachers to try to reduce the amount of homework. We do have tutoring for FCAT starting very soon, before school, after school. She herself also goes into the classroom and does tutoring. We also take children that are at higher risk. Well, I want to explain to them how it all works. We take children that are at a higher risk, we put them together, we ask the parents to come before school and after school, so there is a lot of support within this school to try to get all the children to be the best that they can be. Thank you.
And are we overcrowded? I've heard that a few times tonight.
We are overcrowded. We are building 22 more stations. It will start after they do the field. We're doing the field. We're leaving enough room where the basketball courts are.
Like modulars, trailers?
No,
there's no-
no. Where the basketball courts are, what's going to be is the basketball court, like a semi-gym, and then...
Why don't we have an agenda item where they can actually come and show what they're going to do?
We're not-
I have a question.
They're not ready to show.
Well, I mean, it's already gone through the process. It's all public. I mean, you know.
But they don't have an actual design yet. We're still
They
working.
described it to us before. They've already
Right.
done it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
All right, I have a question too, Stephanie. I know you're dealing with the school. I understand that they close the field for the kids after school?
No, the field is used, okay. During school, it is a closed facility.
Right.
After school, it is, yes, it is.
During the day?
During the day, when
classes
school is
come.
on.
I know, we're not going to get into the whole discussion. Yeah, I know,
Well,
this is like,
listen, I just want you as the person that's going to deal with the school. I mean, the field should be open to the kids for after school so that they can go in and play
Up until 6
football.
o'clock, the after-school programs, the city's after-school program, plus the school's after-school program, we use the field.
Till 6.
Till 6 o'clock.
After that, it's
After 6
open?
o'clock, it is open. Until that time, it is not open. It is used for our after-school program.
yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for, you pulled 1A, so other than 1A, if there's anything else, nothing else to be pulled?
I'll move it.
Okay, a motion second. We need all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it. Okay, 1A, Josh.
There was one thing on, which was in page number 7, it says that I said that as far as the flexibility of interior construction, no, interior repairs is what I had said.
Okay.
So I just want that
All
correct.
right, so as amended.
I'll move it with the amendment.
Okay, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, great. I'd like to pull number 17 out of order, there's a resident. So if we can just shoot to number 17, Mr. Manager?
17.
Discussion and direction to staff on proposed changes to the ordinance regulating single-family driveways, driveway materials, and related items. This was discussed at a previous council meeting at the request of Councilmember Gaffey. You have the report from Mike Miller, and these to the residents.
Okay, now this is, Councilmember Gaffney. This is-
Right, I think we, discussed this to some extent last month. We agreed to defer it, provide you, not to provide you, but really to provide the council members with the opportunity to drive by your house and take a look at the type of, pavers or whatever the
Interlocking pavers, yeah.
interlocking pavers, and to see whether we thought it was acceptable as a driving material in the town. I went by. I think it's acceptable. I don't know the other members of the council think, but, I'm in favor of that.
So am I.
As long as it's maintained.
As long as it's maintained, like any other...
Do you know it's been at the Riva? So we already had it, even though it's not supposed to be a driveway, but there was a
Right.
car on it when I saw it.
I do have a question for Mr. Miller. Dealing with the border, can you please explain to me the border provision in there? Is the border, does it have to be a different material, or if you can just briefly speak on that?
Tatiana, did you see that?
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, for the record, Mike Miller again. Our idea was that sometimes when you use these pavers and the grass grows through it, you can't really see where it is, so you may perceive that somebody's parking on the grass or something. So our idea was to have an edging, if you will, where the paver was, so that identifies where the circular drive is, where the straight drive is. So it could be a similar material. It would probably be more like an edging material, flush, but it would say, here's the edge of the driveway, so you're not on the grass. So you're not on the grass, you're on the driveway.
And also I noticed, sorry for interrupting, but I also noticed that I think the type of grass makes a difference, because like the type of, the regular grass that we all have on our lawns, like that crabby grass, I'm not sure, is it St. Augustine? Then what's the grass that they use for like putting? The Bermuda. See, I think those types of pavers would really look good with like Bermuda grass stuff, like inside them.
Yeah, it's that real fine.
Yeah, the fine grass, maybe just, as part of the process, when they're put there with the dirt, just plant Bermuda grass instead of the St. Augustine grass.
It's more fragile. I don't know if it would hold up.
Artificial. Some people it's artificial, actually.
But, I mean, look, it has to be maintained, but
Yeah,
certainly, their house is pretty, and I'm sure that they'll take care of it.
I think the driveway's fine. I'm not so sure about the border. I think that if we're giving direction to the manager to actually, to make sure that it gets taken care of, I think that the insight to do what's right, to make sure that it looks tasteful, some people may want it.
We did several drive-bys to your house, and I've seen that house for over the years. It really looks great. But I know everybody cuts their grass on a different schedule. When it was freshly trimmed, when you weed whack down, it really it stands out. So I would just, if you let it grow, like some people cut grass on 2-week schedules.
No, I understand.
In the
We
summer.
started cutting it out. Once we did it, and we realized we
That's the only thing I would
So we
say.
started doing it.
Well, my question is, with this provision that Mr. Miller put in, would they still comply with the law in regards to that border?
If you keep it trimmed really low,
So they would
be
comply
probably
with that?
okay.
Okay. All right, so I don't have a problem with that. Any public comment? We have Aviana Cohen. Do you want to come?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
not anything beyond what was said.
Okay. Next, we have Francis Newhut.
Francis Newhut, 9920 West Broadview Drive. This particular code, if you look at what's happened here with the ordinance, there is new language, and that new language includes things referring to the setbacks. And that's what I'm here to discuss. I'm not here to discuss what color or whatever. And in P&Z meetings, they're the ones who approve these driveways. I'm not going to say whom, but someone from the DRC has, or whatever, has approved some of these site plans, and they come in and they say, okay, this is to approve. Meanwhile, they say there's a pool in the back, or there's not a pool in the back, and the driveway goes all the way up to the house, meaning it's concrete, the whole thing. There's no impervious surfaces for water, anything, and there's no drainage. Therefore, we have now flooding in our streets. We have more cars than ever parking on our streets, and unlike the East Island, we have a 5-foot owned by the town right-of-way. And I'm not willing to give up that right-of-way so that when the FP&L comes, they start putting them in the street, in the middle of the street. We have 5 feet. It's supposed to be part of our Miami-Dade, the conservation or whatever of impervious surfaces. I've landscaped it. We've had driveways that way, and that's why you have so many circular driveways, because you got to keep that 5 feet. Now we have buildings coming out further than 25 feet setbacks. Nobody's saying anything. Code enforcement's not around, and they're breaking the law. We've got cars more than ever. We have what the East Island used to have. We have cars in the street. We have water. You know, when I put my driveway, they made me put a French drain. They actually made me put a French drain so that no water went into the street. Now, all these go right up to the street.
Thank you for your
So I'm
comments.
glad you're talking about colors and beautiful things when the
Thank you for
real
your
thing are the
comments, Mrs.
setbacks.
Newman.
And you should really consider
Mrs.
that.
Kennedy, you're up.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kennedy. Is it only 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I just would like you to give consideration to this lovely family, who this is their second time here. They're going by the rules, and I think we should approve. I've been to the West Island. There's nothing uniform up there. As a matter of fact, it's almost looking like the East Island lately. So, for your consideration, please approve them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, can we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve without the borders.
Second. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, so it's going to go first reading.
Wait, I want to say something. Yeah, I went over to the West Island to find their house, which I couldn't find, so...
Yeah.
But I've seen driveways that have no grass at all. It was just pure concrete, and it looked like they were supposed to be squares, but those, the
filled in with more
inset was all concrete.
Jordan?
So the whole thing was concrete.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, guys. No.
Please.
One of the purposes of
Wait a
this,
minute.
I was saying, one of the purposes of this ordinance...
Wait a minute, I'm not finished talking.
I'm sorry, I asked if I was interrupting you, sorry.
And when I went over to the West Island, I was really dismayed at what it looks like. It really has gone downhill, because I don't go over to the West Island that much, not since my election.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't go over there that much, but as I drove from street to street to try and find their home, I was really disappointed on how it looks. And I just want to say I'm...
Well, we're sorry you feel that way, but that's one of the reasons why Councilmember Yaffe, smartly brought this up for discussion, because we're trying to make the town always improve, and this is legislation that's going to improve that. So,
Great.
thank you very much for
I
that.
mean, it was in reaction to some of the newer homes that have been built with those basically courtyards, which have no trees, no landscaping at all.
Right.
And we're increasing in this ordinance the amount of, green space and...
So what happens to that house?
I'm sorry, let me interrupt for a minute. I apologize, but it's not just about the turf block. That's not this has a lot of changes. It has new setbacks.
Right.
It's not just, and I just want to clarify that the vote was just to proceed with these proposed amendments on everything, not just the turf block.
No, absolutely, yes, everything.
Okay.
Right, no, I read the item, I'm sure we all...
That should have a positive effect on drainage for flooding, too.
It should, absolutely.
Right.
What happens with the house that has all concrete? What happens there?
Well, that house is already there. These will change the code for anything in the future. Somebody, when they come in to do a driveway, they will have to comply with the setbacks that are in this revision.
Okay, next, I'd like to pull item 11 out of order also because there's also... I'm sorry.
Did it pass, Jordan?
Yeah, it passed, it's going to go to first reading because it's going to be an ordinance. So this is just a discussion item, so...
About the driveway?
I'm sorry, For the ordinance, right, this is a discussion item, so it's going to go back for first reading at the next meeting, so we're on the right path. Item number 11, please, Mr. Manager.
Consideration possible approval of a business tax receipt, occupational license application for
Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mr. Manager.
Don't we have license and seven to do first?
This is just jumping around again.
Excuse me, you're out of order. Please, with all due respect. Yes, I'm gonna take items out of order where there are residents or individuals pertaining to the community. That's my prerogative, and I choose to do it. And if you have a problem with that, you can leave.
Consideration and approval of a possible business tax receipt, occupational license application for Dr. Miami Boutique LLC to operate a business boutique gift shop, Botox injection and laser tattoo removal to be located at 1072 King Concourse. Rosie Zion will be in attendance to answer questions.
Okay? You're right. Come on up.
Mayor, if I may, this application came into my office. There's certain things that I can approve, certain things that I cannot. There was several items about the application that concern me. It's on my report. I can mention it, or...
Also, let me add one thing. I'm sorry to interrupt one thing. I don't know if you're aware or not, Isaac. They listed you as the reference.
Oh, really?
So so you were aware of that before you decide whether you want to sit in or not. I'm
sure you read it.
Okay, but I'm just, in case it went through, I just want to make sure it's a winner.
I don't remember.
Who are the principals of,
Michael Salzauer and...
He's a resident.
and who?
Me.
Oh, and you?
Okay.
Greg.
Yeah.
If Dr. Salzauer is a client of mine, but I stand I don't stand to any financial gain for the approval of this occupational license. Is it inappropriate for me to...
I don't have a problem with no financial gain, but it is an awkward situation, and you'll have to decide yourself.
So you consider it awkward?
I think it's problematic.
What would I write on the conflict of interest form?
Just you would write that the owner is a client that you do work for.
Marlene.
Bob was in a similar situation.
Right, so we're going to take a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay. So we're going to wait 1 second, please.
Pull the top out.
Yeah. As I mentioned, I have put this in front of you for consideration because it is a business that's on the ground floor. It is they have said that part of it is going to be retail. They will sell some retail items, but it's also going to be Botox injections. There's going to be tattoo removal. It's not the same as a tattoo parlor, but a tattoo parlor is prohibited in our code. And then the fact that it's doctor in the name, it seems to imply that it is a professional business. Those are prohibited on the ground floor. So for those reasons, I put it in front of you. They have complied with everything. We have gone through the process. They brought me, at the time I put this out, I did not have the life safety inspection from fire, but I got that now. So it's before you for approval because it is a little different, and there is that section in the code where I can bring to you
But I have a question. I'm
business
sorry.
tax receipts.
But it's a doctor. It's really, Botox and all that is for the doctor.
They have assured me that, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Dr. Miami's a brand that we branded over the last year. We have it trademarked, it's our logo, so, and we've gotten a lot of popularity over the last year, so we're just kind of selling our promotional items
Is the
in the
doctor
store.
planning on doing, I'm assuming the tattoo removal, the Botox is done by a doctor?
Yes, there will be a doctor
Basically,
there.
it's a doctor's office selling other
No,
goods.
it's a store that also happens to give Botox, actually.
What percentage of your facility is store and what?
I think like 80% will be retail, because it's a whole ground floor, and then it has a little loft area upstairs with 2 rooms. So that loft area would be where Botox would happen, and then the whole open space.
I mean, Dr. Southauer has a medical office in
Yes.
town, correct?
Yes.
I'm just wondering why the Botox injections or tattoo removal
just-
couldn't be done in his medical office as
Because
opposed
our
to...
office,
Just ask.
because it's full. We're kind of out of space in our office that we have now, so we use it mostly for surgery. So we're just kind of offloading that into that space.
And I gotta say, oh, sorry.
Yeah, please, John.
I got a problem with this, and I tell you right off the bat, the lease itself, the
Okay.
tenant that you have listed the lease is not the separate company, is not a separate entity, it is the PA, which is a professional association, it's a doctor professional association, so you're listing it as that, which is an honest answer, but that also is a prohibited use. I can't support it.
I have a question.
I guess I could switch the lease for company.
So, Dr. Miami is your brand, and what about Dr. Booty Q? What sign will be on this? if any?
It's Dr. Miami's, it's boutique, it's just spelled in a different way.
Oh.
But, yeah.
So it's, okay, because, this doctor has been known to
Yeah.
be a comedian when it
Yeah.
comes to body parts like
yeah.
the Boutique Q.
Yes. So
And,
we
okay,
kinda- so we're
now,
spelling it in a different way.
Botox has to be administered by, can be an RN?
No, a PA, a doctor or PA.
Doctor, physician assistant? With
Or
a-
a nurse practitioner.
Okay, with
So it's gonna
a
be
doctor?
nurse practitioner.
Yes, that's
Okay,
who.
but it has to be under an
Doctor
MD
supervision.
supervision. Does that
Yes.
mean he has to be on the premises?
Yeah. We'll have a doctor.
So
Not him
essentially-
or not- we have another doctor that will be on the premises.
So essentially, the
not him.
doctor's holding court for you to do your job?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Let me ask one more thing, actually. If this passed, since we are allowing with the tenants being the doctors, the PA, and they're saying 80% retail, and their retail doesn't work out, we really can't stop them from converting the percentage back over to full medical, right?
We have no plans to do that.
It's your problem.
Yeah.
All right, so
This is a walk around. This is a way to get, like I said, I can't support it because this is a work around the whole process.
And
And
it's not at all.
But
We
if
have
it-
no...
whether you guys are or not, but you'd be leading the way for anybody else who wants to come in and work around it.
But she already said that they're so packed upstairs that they need extra room.
Yeah, this is not the purpose of
No,
it.
I mean, the main purpose is the retail. It is the main purpose.
But you'd be able to change it, and the tenant here is not a retail store, it's a professional association of a doctor. That's not.
And I'd also say that now I understand the semantics, the grammar, I wasn't getting that spelling. It's very clever, and it's very cute, but I don't think I want, like certain terms, like booty getting a little fresh on the Can Concourse. People might get the wrong idea.
Okay.
So, for future business reference, in my opinion anyway, I'm only one person.
Right.
I'll give you an option. Do you want to go for a vote, or do you want to possibly try to revise this and bring it back?
I think I'll revise it. Bring it back.
What
would she revise? What would...
I don't think that this is going to pass the way it is, and I think that some of the comments that council members have made are things that possibly you might want to consider.
I'm sorry, but revising it is going to be the same thing. If it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I'm not going to approve it. I will bring it back before you.
No, we understand that.
Right.
Maybe they'll decide not to do
Yeah.
Botox and tattoo removal in this particular location, do that also.
Right.
We're not saying that's what you have to do. I don't know what the revision will be,
Yeah, but-
and I don't think it's appropriate necessarily for us to now grill Ms. Zion as to
Yeah.
what the revision will be. It's up to you to decide whether you want to come back or not.
I'm just giving you an opportunity so it doesn't...
Okay, no, I appreciate
If it's
it.
strictly, if she changes this to strictly retail, then I will not come back. I will accept it as strictly retail.
But hold on, let me ask you something though, but it's, again, if you've got the PA as the tenant,
think it's
that's,
by a
it
LLC.
can't, right, it can't be a PA, that's the problem.
The lease has to be changed? Because we didn't have the LLC when we signed
Right,
it.
well, that's what I'm saying, it's not, because I don't see how that can be okay even without us as far as a PA is. It's a medical office.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have some public comment, so I'm going to finish with the public comment. And, okay, Mr. Maya, but keep in mind, we're not taking a vote on this, so... Yeah, well,
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street, and just to your point, Josh, on the lease, it does refer to the activities that it's a medical spa. So it's right there, within the lease, number 7, I think. My other concern is, Marlene just said, if it comes back purely retail, and, that it wouldn't come back before you. Well, there is so much to be done, with the, I'm not trying to be cute here, but with the booty issue, and one of my concerns coming in was, small souvenirs, what are booty souvenirs, and, in other words, it might turn into sort of a Spencer's type little adult, to buy stuff and that sort of thing, and so I think there's a big, long slope here that you have. Thank you.
I will say, I think that's the second time this year you got the quote of the night.
There you go. Dr. Newhut. Okay, Kathleen Kennedy.
Right, that's the least.
I Googled Dr. Michael Booty, and is your name Rossi? She's a registered agent, okay? I'd like to have seen Mr. Booty here so I could check him out. Dr. Booty, hello? I'd like to see his booty, but anyway, please don't approve this garbage. This is crap. And anyone that, you should use discretion when you're bringing something like this in front of the council. This is really disrespectful. No, I'm not, it is my fault. I know it's her job, but you know what? Does she have the right to say, you know what, we don't need this garbage here? No. Okay. Sorry. Oh, okay. I mean, this is booty. I have a tattoo.
No, we don't need that.
Not on my booty, okay? But you know what? Let's get real here. By the way, thank you for your third job.
Thank you, Mrs. Newman.
I just wanted to point out one other thing for the benefit perhaps of the applicant, that the lease says that the premises may not be used for any purpose other than a medical spa.
Right.
Which is really contradictory to the application as a retail establishment.
Mrs. Newman.
Francis Newhut, 1060 King Concourse. I don't know if this was purposely done or not, but we're next door. And I was very insulted with Councilman Yaffe for saying that he parked his car because there was so much parking spaces on the King Concourse. I mean, I'm trying my hardest to get restaurants and high-end places here. And when you come in with places like Booty and all these other things, and that Lice place upstairs and the preschool, and sure, you can go circumvent it and come out with something that allows it. But the bottom line is, if you look at the business district, since I've lived here, it has always been a disaster. And now I know why. I thought I could save at least our side, meaning where that new restaurant Olima opened. But you know what? You're putting them over there now. So I think you have it for me to just destroy the whole business district. But let me tell you something. That project that was brought in with the parking situation, that parking trust, if you look, is for the business district and the gateway. And thank God, Mr. Sherman told me that if we get assessed for a new garage, which is in the business district, it will be the whole town, not just the business district. So if you want to keep on destroying the business district with these crazy uses, be my guest. And Marlene, she had written every business person telling them that the parking is to promote for retail and commercial and for restaurants. So far, I have seen 100 real estate offices opening, new medical buildings opening, the preschool opening. And you know what? They didn't have to pay into a parking trust because somehow they get away with not having to pay for parking on a ground floor. So, they will also, and they have terrible parking next door to us.
Thank you very much for your comments.
So, I'd like you to do the miracle for me of getting parking for everybody.
Thank you. We're going to go to agenda item number 5, second reading. Please read.
Consideration and approval of an ordinance on second reading amending section 5-23 of the town code entitled Building and Construction in order to amend the date in which a final working plan is requested.
Sorry, could somebody tell Councilman Salver to come back in?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that's, yeah. Thank you.
Read the ordinance, an ordinance of the town of Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, amending chapter 5 of the town's adopted code of ordinances entitled Building and Construction, and specifically amending section 523 entitled Time for Submitting Final Working Plans in order to amend the date in which final working plans are required to be submitted, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? We do have public comment.
Which one are we on?
Number 5. All right, Mr. Meyer.
Victor Meyer, 1155 103rd Street. I understand this is a second reading, and I wasn't around for the first reading, so if anything I say was covered there, I sincerely apologize for redoing it. But, in looking at this, I see, that we had sort of a time frame, by which these working plans needed to be submitted. That was 180 days. And then the town manager had the discretion to extend that by another 180 days. So pretty much extending it out to a year. Now we are going to give people proposed 365 days. And then we want to give the town manager authority to extend that another 180 days. So we went basically from a 6-month, time frame to now a year and a half. And so, to submit these plans. And so I would ask, was there any discussion or questions, with respect to under what circumstances, would our manager not grant an extension? So are we looking at an automatic, year and a half here? My feeling is that this is going way too far, and these comments would apply for, 6 and 7 as well. They're basically the same thing. If you're going to go and extend everything to a year, fine, leave it at a year and just cut it off. You take out, any discretion. He doesn't have to deal with these requests for extensions after 6 months, and you're at a year, and that's it. You're done. Now you're going to do that. You're going to give them a year, plus then potentially another 6 months. And so I would ask, under what circumstances would the manager not grant an extension? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment.
Maybe
Mrs. Newhart. Sure, if you briefly, please. As it was explained in the first time around, we've seen a lot of projects that can't make the 365 working plans, and not because they're not trying, it's because a lot of the process is out of our control. If the project came before us without even trying, had not submitted anything, most of the projects that miss the 365, it's not because they're not trying, they're trying very desperately, or it's in Durham, or it's in the fire department. And from knowing in personal experience, the fire department can be a long time in and out. Durham can be a long time in and out, depending on what the size of the project or the nature of the project is. So, to get them in, when there was nothing going on, 365 was realistic. It's not really realistic anymore, especially not because we can't get the reviews done on our side. It's the county just is very slow. And if there was no activity, I would not extend it. But the ones that I have extended under this, the way it is now, they're all desperate to, they've all been working to get the project through. Thanks. Mrs. Newhart.
Francis Newhart, 1060 Kane Concourse. There's also a conflict here with our building permit because you have even more extensions. But the most important thing that I am disturbed about with this is if you're going to give them these extensions, fine. But just like the people were here for 22 TDRs, I want to see that money up front. I want Mr. Watson going to the Miami-Dade property appraiser's office and recording it. I don't want to have some little filing cabinet downstairs or a cabinet where, okay, they paid $200. In another 5 years, maybe we'll get up to 10 million, which will be owed to the town for the TDRs, because that's what's happening now. And as you recall, Mr. Yaffe, when we did Weinstein or Wallace, they couldn't wait to get their TDR money up front because they had to fix up their buildings. Well, you know what? This town needs to fix up the town, and we have no money. And these TDRs now can take as much as 4 years, and I'll explain to you why. Besides, it's stated to have a reasonable extension of, this is not a reasonable extension of time. You have started out with a final working plan. That's not the building permit. So Mr. Watson extended it from 180 days to 365. Plus, if you like, you can have another 180 days. Then you go on, and we found out in P&Z meeting that there are resubmissions and approvals of expired building permits. And a very large quantity of demolition permits, approximately 35, have already been issued, especially the East Island waterfront properties, therefore diminishing the available allocation of private TDRs and destroying the purpose and intent of the TDR program. The state has already put into place with P&Z board site these plans proposals with the town CBO and the allowing of another 2-year building permit extension. So we're talking not 2 years.
Thank you very much for your comments.
4 years.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your comments. So we have a motion and a second. Sorry, discussion. Can I have a poll vote, please?
Yeah, discussion?
You have discussion? Yeah.
Ron, can you just briefly explain it one more time?
What?
Just,
In the code, we have the building code, that's the regular code, and then we have the gateway, and then the PUD. They all have very separate and distinct timeframes for project submission. This was to really make it less confusing and have one system for everything. So it's a consistent, for the code. It makes it easier, certainly for me. It makes it certainly easier for the building department and to do inspections and to work from one consistent framework. When you have different timeframes, it's really, it is difficult, and it can be confusing, and mistakes can be made. This would reduce the opportunity for a mistake to be.
so the end time, it used to be a year with this particular item, and it's going now to a year and a half? Yes.
Actually, yes, possibly to a year and a half, but
Okay.
you had one section where you had 365 to get it in. There was no extension for me, and there was no 6 months, but you had to have a shovel on the ground by 18 months. And I'm not sure if that's realistic. If any changes, one of the big problems that can happen is when you go to the fire department, it's been, in the past, you could make design changes to the building if it was life safety, and it wouldn't go back to planning and zoning, and we've changed that. So everything goes back to planning and zoning for a second review and for modifications. It just adds time to the process, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's a good thing, but some of the projects, the designers will say, okay, I'm going to make these stairwells or stair exits that used to be okay, I'm going to put them in the building. So when you do that, the parking gets rearranged, things happen at the interior of the building.
I'll tell you, I did not vote for these last time, and I didn't really explain why, but I think keeping the time frame a little tighter motivates them to do it right the first time. Like, we've seen now 3 or 4 times that, if an architect is putting forth a project and doesn't know that stairwells can't be in the setback of a building, and then it's kind of an after-the-fact thing, it only happens a few times, but that's just an example. So that's my thought process to go forward. It's not really, anything about our staff, and...
All right, I'm going to call a question. Paul, vote, please.
Councilmember Yaffe.
Well, wait a minute, I wanted
I
to...
called the question. Paul, vote, please. Paul, vote, please.
4.
Councilmember Saba.
4.
Councilmember Reed.
Opposed.
Councilmember Moreno.
Opposed.
Councilmember Fuller.
4.
Vice Mayor Bruder. 4. Mayor Leonard.
4. All right.
Passes.
Item number 6, please.
Consideration approval of an ordinance on second reading amending section 23-21J of the Town Code entitled Gateway G zoning district in order to amend the date in which the final working plans are required and submitted. Same reasons supplied.
An ordinance of the Town of Bay Harbor, Island, Florida, amending Chapter 23 of the town's adopted Code of Ordinances entitled Zoning and Planning, and especially amending Section 2321J entitled Gateway Zoning District in order to amend the date in which final working plans are required to be submitted, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
I'll move it.
Second. All right, great. Public comment, Mrs. Zuhat, you're up.
Francis Newhut, 1060 King Concourse. And as I said before, I think it's a disgrace, the way you treat people here, the way you just treated Ms. Morano. This is wrong. This is totally wrong, and I don't know what's going on here. I wish there was somebody I could report it to, because it's just a disgrace what's going on. Again, this is a second reading, and this is a gateway. We just had a gateway here, and you are eliminating the power of this government. And it says here, it is crossed out, if construction ceases for more than 60 days, the project shall be deemed abandoned and the town's approval shall lapse. We are going to have, instead of having beautiful landscaping with a fence, we're going to have concrete, maybe a piling here, or maybe we'll have that Monarch over there with that equipment making noise all the time and never being built, because according to these people, it's going to cost them millions before they build. So you're really jeopardizing your power by allowing these people, and I told you, the government has already allowed a 2-year extension on building permits. Now you have the 2 years here, we've got 4 years. The market's going to change. We're going to be stuck, and we're not even going to get TDRs, because this is the whole point. You're not getting your money up front. You don't get these hundreds of thousands of dollars, like these 22 TDRs up front, the money for the government to pay for a community center or a library or whatever you're asking for. We're going to get nothing, absolutely nothing. We're going to have concrete all over the place.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else for number 6? Hearing none? Okay, public comments closed. We have a motion and a second. Any comment? Ms. Morano, I'll give you the first opportunity.
Yeah, I think that was terrible what you just did to me. I wanted to ask Ron, does this 180 days, does this apply to projects that are in progress now, or this is going forward to new projects?
Going forward.
Thank you.
All right.
That was very simple.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we're going to have a poll vote, please.
Councilmember Fuller?
For.
Councilmember Morano?
Opposed.
Councilmember Reed? Opposed. Councilmember Salver?
For.
Councilmember Yaffe?
For.
Vice Mayor Bruder?
For.
Mayor Leonard?
For. Number 7, please.
Consideration and approval of an ordinance on second reading amending Section 2318 of the Town Code entitled PUD Zoning Overlay District in order to amend the date in which final working plans are required to be submitted.
An ordinance of the Town of Bay Harbor, Island, Florida, amending Chapter 23 of the town's adopted Code of Ordinances entitled Zoning and Planning, especially amending Section 2318 titled Plan Unit Development, PUD, Zoning Overlay District, in order to amend the date in which final working plans are required to be submitted, providing for severability, providing for notification, and providing for an effective date.
Motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
Second, great. Mrs. Newhut, public comment.
Again, this is Francis Newhut, 1060 Kane Concourse. I do not like this final working plans being extended. This now is with the PUD overlay. Again, we have projects on the gateways that we'll be sitting and looking at. We already looked at them, and we're still looking at them, and we will be looking at them again for 4 years. So what you see now is what you're going to have for 4 years. And on top of it, the TDRs that you approved on these projects, we will never see the money. The TDR program will probably fail between now and then, where we won't have any money to have any improvements for this town. But what I wanted to say, just to explain to you what's going on here, is the town manager is extending from 180 days to 365, and then if they like, another 180 days. Then we have what's called the state approval with a building permit now, that if you have a new project, you can extend it for 2 years. So what are we doing here? It's quoted here, a reasonable extension of time. Is 4 years a reasonable extension of time? Is any other town doing this besides our crazy town? Are we the only ones that look the way we look? Are we the only ones whose whole town is going down the tubes? Our business district looks disgusting. Our East Island, we've got power lines in the middle of the street. We've got a school that they lock the gates so our children can't, the Bay Harbor children have nowhere to go except in front of my 95th Street, the mini mart over there. Where are we going with all this? Why do you keep destroying good ordinances for chaos? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any comment from council? Hearing none, poll vote, please.
Councilmember Yaffe?
4.
Councilmember Sauber?
4.
Councilmember Reed? Opposed. Councilmember Morano?
Opposed.
Councilmember Fuller?
4.
Vice Mayor Bruder? 4. Mayor Leonard?
4.
Passes.
Number 8, please.
Consideration and approval of an ordinance on second reading amending section 20-9 of the town code increasing the monthly basis of flow charges of sewer service.
An ordinance of the Town of Bay Harbor Islands amending section 20-9 of the town code increasing the monthly base and flow charges for sewer service, providing for penalties, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
I move it.
Second.
That's a pass-through, you know that.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion from council? Hearing none, poll vote, please.
Councilmember Fuller?
4.
Councilmember Morano?
4.
Councilmember Reed? 4. Councilmember Sauber?
4.
Councilmember Yaffe?
4.
Vice Mayor Bruder?
4.
Mayor Leonard?
Thank you. 4.
Item 9, consideration and approval of an ordinance on second reading amending section 9-38 of the town code increasing the solid waste fees.
An ordinance amending section 938BC of the Town of Bay Harbor Islands Code increasing the monthly solid waste fees, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, poll vote, please.
Councilmember Fuller?
4.
Councilmember Morano? 4. Councilmember Reed? 4. Councilmember Sauber?
4.
Councilmember Yaffe?
4.
Vice Mayor Bruder?
4.
Mayor Leonard?
4.
Unanimous.
Number 10, please.
Item 10, consideration and approval of an ordinance on first reading requested by Mayor Leonard, amending section 11 of the town code entitled Land Development Regulations to create a new green sustainable building program.
An ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, amending the town's code of ordinances, amending Chapter 11, entitled Land Development Regulations, creating a new Article 5 to be entitled Sustainable Building Program, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
I'll move it.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. A motion and a second. Public comment, Mr. Maya?
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street. This seems like a whole lot of work here. It could have been handled very simply and easily, and that is, on any request for bid on any building that you guys are going to construct, just put in the standard that you want them to meet, and that's it. Instead, we got 2 pages here of microprint, detailing all of the stuff, that you need to abide by when, you're basically, putting shackles around you in terms of what you can and can't do, and you could have handled it and resolved it really simply and easily, through direction like that, number one. Number two, I am extremely concerned about these incentives that are going to the private sector for quote-unquote voluntarily complying with these things. We're reducing our fees, our permit fees, and all kinds of fees by all kinds of percent. We haven't even, looked at and assessed and raised our fees in years, in a lot of cases, because I keep asking for the documents. When was the last time we looked at them? And now we're going to cut our fees by 15, 20, 25, up to 30%. we're not even looking at the impact on our overstressed building department and all the administrative costs and burden that you're putting on them. This just seems, quite frankly, like a boondoggle for developers to come in and get rebates, off of fees. Like, come on, they're going to build, green, to market it, fine, but this is crazy, in my opinion. Also, you're allowing people whose buildings are not eligible for sustainable building certification to get an incentive, and expedited, permit process if they just pay more money. And you've got that here, item D, H1D. I mean, come on, what is the whole purpose of all this? What you wanted could have been done very simply and easily. It's very convoluted.
Thank you very much for your comments. Mrs. Newhut, you're up, please.
Francis Newhut, 1060 Kane Concourse. Thank you, Victor, for explaining some of this to us, but since you don't have discussion about it, I would like for you to have discussion about it, because I was told that this was already passed by the state, if I'm not mistaken. Has any other municipalities had to, well, can we discuss it, Mr. Leonard?
We're going to discuss it.
Okay, because it's very hard to understand, and I thought you were just going to pass it. But thank goodness Mr. Victor Meyer came up here to explain to us that there's some problems with it. So I hope you will discuss that rather than just have you 4 people or whatever, or 5 sometimes, passing everything. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, no more discussion.
Where's your paper, Fran?
All right.
I know, I forgot your paper.
He keeps switching around. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, this was something that I'm proposing, and I'll take a minute and discuss it. When I first brought this up for discussion, let me just take a step back. Where this came from originally is the League of Cities did a study for every municipality, all 34 cities in the county, to see what is being done in regards to sustainability. Sustainability is really important in South Florida. We talk about climate change, we talk about all these things, we talk about, sea level rise. Sustainability is a major facet. And so, the League did this study at the behest of Mayor Lerner, who's been one of the foremost authorities, sits on the National League dealing with this issue. What it found was, Bay Harbor did a great job, but we can do a little bit better. I believe there are 7 municipalities that have legislation dealing with providing some level of incentive, or legislation just dealing with LEED certified or just greener buildings for that matter. It was my recommendation, and the council did approve at discussion, that we copy what Pinecrest does. So what this legislation is, in essence, after Pinecrest they spent considerable money in research coming up with this legislation, we're just pretty much copying it and piggybacking off of it. They went a little bit further. They actually have it in their comp plan. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for the ordinance. But you're right. Is it providing incentives for developers to build greener buildings? Absolutely. But, it's easy to say you're green, but if you're not going to provide some incentive, what are we doing other than saying, please do it? And this is actually going to put some teeth. If you look at, for example, Miami Beach, they have legislation. There's a couple cities that do it, but Pinecrest seemed the most comprehensive. It seemed the greenest. And I wanted to be the one to sponsor something that's actually going to potentially make an impact. Unfortunately, Bay Harbor does not have a single LEED certified building on East Island. We have one on the West Island, but we don't have anything on East Island. And I haven't seen anything proposed that is LEED certified. So this is why I'm proposing it, and I hope we pass on first reading. Yeah, Kevin?
I support this kind of legislation. I told you that before. I was very happy that you sponsored it. And I remember that, I had proposed recently that we would waive fees for impact windows. And I remember you saying, well, we can't do anything like that until we analyze the financial impact and the budget. So this is a little more significant than that was. So do you have any idea the impact on the budget and the finance part of it? Because that's blank, and that usually makes you crazy.
And Jordan, let me actually, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think you have the right concept here, but, we've talked about it multiple times. We're going to have something with a budget impact that we wanted on the front sheet, and it's zero listed here. So, this is first reading, but we have no idea what we're voting for as far as the impact.
Josh, could I kind of answer that one? It's very hard to project about what kind of benefit or loss of fees that you would have. Fees are great, and they're great, they come into the town, but the real benefit is you get a building that's more desirable to live in, so it's an increased value, which is better in the long run. The other thing is, even with having this, I can guarantee you're not going to have a stampede of people coming in to build, because it is very, very expensive. Dale Lee is not here tonight only because he's away, but he will, when discussing this with him, one of the things that is commonplace in the building industry is it's really expensive to build them. That's why they're not built. Even with the incentives, it's not something that everybody runs out to do.
I'm aware of that, but the problem is for us to go in this blindly is a problem. I think that the concept is great. The intent is definitely pure. However, we have no idea. And if we're mirroring Pinecrest, we can at least see, and it's not a perfect comparison, we're a different style city, but we can get a general idea as to what the impact was there, as far as how many people built, how many didn't.
How about if we took one typical multifamily and one typical single family and just did a comparison of how it is now and how it is with this formula? Would that help?
Just so we have some idea. I mean, just
Just explain that to me again, how you would just take one house.
A sample, see what it would be if it was LEED certified versus not LEED certified, but also keep in mind, the cost for LEED certified would be higher fees anyway, so this is supposed to offset to some extent the additional amount of money they're going to have to pay to do it. You see, if they're going to build a home or a building, it's going to cost, let's just take a number, I've heard as high as 40%, let's say it's 30-40% more. Technically, are you really even losing money? And that's kind of when I first started the discussion with Dale Lee and the manager, I wasn't looking at this as we're really giving the incentive and we're going to lose money. Believe it or not, this is just offsetting the additional cost of them doing the project.
How long has this been in effect in Pinecrest?
I don't know the exact time, but I can find out. I mean,
I'm just curious on what they've rebated in over a period of time. It's been in effect, that's all.
Yeah, you know
Out
what?
of curiosity, it doesn't directly relate to the harbor, but...
We can do is if it passes our first reading, when it goes to second reading, I'll make sure that we get Pinecrest information. I make sure that we also provide the sustainability report. I'm sure it was emailed to everyone, but I'll make sure that that's included in the package.
Excuse me, I don't think we should go to, you just keep passing things as if, let's get some more information and then go back to a first reading.
I tend to agree. If you wouldn't mind, I prefer you defer because this is something I will probably support, but I can't support it with the blank budget impact yet. So pushing it off 1 month, getting the basic information, I think you'll have my vote next time.
Yeah, there's no problem.
So I'd rather do it that way.
Yeah,
I think the percentages are pretty high on this.
But it's information we need before we vote. That's why I'm here.
I'd like to come back to that.
No, I don't mind doing that. So we'll defer it to next month, and staff will get that information from Pinecrest, and then also provide the sustainability report also. So we'll move on that, okay? Next we have item 12.
Request for an extension to close on an agreement to purchase for sale transfer development rights between town and Ferramos LLC. The contract was entered into on May 11, 2015 for the purchase of 5 TDR units to be transferred to the receiving property located at 1170 93rd Street. Matt Amster is here, attorney. Explain.
Good evening, Matt Amster with the law firm of Burke, Howard, Ellen Fernandez, offices at 200 South Biscayne Boulevard in Miami. Here today representing Fermanos, the owner of the property and the applicant before you today. We did obtain TDRs, and I do have good news to report. Previously, they had submitted a foundation permit, which is nearing issuance by the town and all the other players that do these permits, but we've also submitted the full building permit and have started to process that. The current expiration of the TDR contract with the town is November 12th, having just put in for the building permit. We would not be able to complete the process as had been discussed on some other items, not just the town reviews, but Durham and fire and other departments do pose some challenge. But we do think that with a 6-month extension, which gives us basically 7 more months from about today, that we would be able to get that building permit issued. The owners are definitely committed to doing this project. That's why they've already broken it up and gone forward with a foundation permit and now have put in for their fill building permit. We did obtain 7 private TDRs, so from 2 different owners. So those properties have benefited by getting additional income to help improve their buildings. And just as a comment about some of the things about the timing of these things, the state is no longer providing any extensions. They had for a while these 2-year extensions, but they haven't been doing that recently, and I see that the economy is better so that they do not need to. So respectfully request that you grant this extension. We agreed to pay today's current price for the TDRs, which did go up considerably, at $12,000 each for the TDRs, and the owner will definitely increase the payment to the town of that additional money. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Just theoretically, if we didn't approve it, then you just sort of reapply and bring it back.
Well, but there's a deposit that we would lose.
No, this is the same one that last time. Yeah, I know.
And we would be paying more money. The additional price increase that just went up by $12,000 for each of these 5 TDRs, I believe the mechanism is that becomes essentially a non-refundable deposit that goes to the town. So basically today, by granting this, the town is immediately getting $60,000 more that is non-refundable. You have the rest of the money already in escrow. Based on the prior amount. So, it's a considerable, again, it's still at some risk to the owner because we still have a deadline that we need to meet in order to get the building permit issued. So we
I
can
just
start
have
construction.
confirmation, is this project almost,
It's working, as you said, it's working through the system. It's just certain things, as I said
so
before,
that
kind of
he is
at...
making an effort?
Oh, yeah,
to-
absolutely.
Okay, that's fine.
They're following what we asked them to do. This is the process. We asked them to come back, pay
I
us
don't know,
$50.
as long as it's moving forward and it's he's not just sitting on it. No, it's fine.
On it?
I'll move it.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, ayes have it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Number 13, please.
Consideration and approval of private TDR... I'm sorry.
Recusing myself on this.
Okay. Hold on one second.
Is Ron recusing himself?
He's excusing
All right, number 13.
Number 13, consideration and approval of a private TDR transaction of the transfer of 4 dwelling units from Habitat 1175 Condominium Inc., 1175 101 Street to Island Club Towers LLC, 9161 and 9201 East Bay Harbor Drive.
Okay, yeah.
So this is a private
Is
transaction.
this yours also?
Yes.
All right.
I'll move it.
A second?
Second.
Let's move in a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. These transfer of TDRs, is this a waterfront project, and are these waterfront TDRs?
This is a private transaction, for the record, Matthew Amster, law firm of Burke, Howardell, and Fernandez, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard in Miami. This is a private transaction.
No,
So
I'm
the-
asking you, is it a waterfront project?
Yes, the receiver is a waterfront project.
The one you're transferring from, is that a waterfront project?
No.
No, it is not.
Can you transfer a non-waterfront and use it as a waterfont?
Yeah, the price.
I thought you could.
Yes.
The price is based on the receiver.
This is private.
This is a private transfer, which is basically the amount per TDR
I
is
thought it had to
decided
be waterfront to
between...
waterfront, no?
That's when we were purchased from the town. The prior application was dealing with TDR is purchased from the town. This is
Had to be
a,
had to be not waterfront
that
to waterfront.
had the difference
non-water.
between public and private, but, waterfront and non-waterfront. Here, because it's a private one, the price is whatever the parties
there was a
agree between
difference.
themselves.
Thank you for educating me.
You're welcome.
Has the design of Island Club, is it still 86 units?
At the moment, it's 86, but they are considering making a few units a little bit larger to reduce the unit count.
Please,
So
please do that.
that is under, in the works.
All right, is there any other discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against?
Yes.
Okay, just, Councilmember Reed. against.
Thank you all.
I'm s-
Commissioner is here about TDRs, whether they're private or public, waterfront, going to waterfront. and-
No.
He's shaking
Things
his
are
head.
right.
Next.
All right, so, all right, number 14.
Item number 14, consideration and approval of requesting proposal RFP for community transit services, or also known as our minibus. I've attached, included a copy of our RFP that we would be advertising. As you can see there, what I'm doing is asking for some, the council at the, I think it was the second budget hearing, discussed the minibus briefly, and suggested their interest in going out to bid or exploring the possibility of going out to bid.
Can you give us a quick update on the between Surf Bell Bay?
I'm sorry?
I know that there was a discussion of a potential, like a little trolley car style thing between us, Bell Harbor and Surfside.
The only thing that the three towns have done right now is integrated their schedules.
Right.
We've come up with the new schedule, which I believe I distributed to all of you.
Yeah.
When it first came out. So what we did is we provided transfer points so our residents can get on their buses and vice versa. Right now, as far as coordinating and having like one type of like circulator or a trolley, for example, that's still far away as far as that kind of discussion. And the main reason is because each of us we're each getting our own money to have our own contract from the CIT. And then that's where it starts, the water starts getting muddy.
Are the timing of the contracts all that? Because I mean, at some point, that's I think where we'd like to gear it towards. There's a trolley car style design. I mean, sort of like what the Gables does. It's a bus, but painted like a trolley. So ridership,
With air conditioning, right?
skyrocket.
Yeah, these new trolleys have air conditioning. Now, I will
that way, but people love it.
I will say this, I have spoken to our current service provider, and I talked to him about the trolleys, and he does provide trolleys for Coral Gables and City of Miami. And he did warn me that if we do go into that we can expect a substantial increase in our annual contract price.
What's the difference?
He said in excess of $100,000.
Really?
Yes. Because first of all, they're bigger as far as passengers. Right now, we have a 20-passenger bus. Right now, we don't have the need for anything larger. The smallest trolley, I believe, comes at 25 passengers. And they're just more expensive vehicles to purchase.
But that's the idea of trying to coordinate with the neighboring towns, because if we could do it that way, cost comes down, and that's...
Well, not necessarily, because if you think about it, we each have 3 different routes. That means we're going to have 3 different buses. We split them up. We're each paying one.
Yeah,
So-
that's better.
We should have more ridership.
I mean, you and I sat next to each other at Best Practices Conference.
Correct, at the transportation...
At the transportation...
workshop.
Yeah, the workshop there, and, I'd like to put out there the fact that the CITT is kind of waking up to the fact that a lot of the CITT dollars are going to existing modes and of transportation and existing systems, and that was, they admit that was not the original intent of the CITT, and that in an effort to move the county forward in a direction that would make a mass transit system more user-friendly for Dade County, they're encouraging users of CITT funds to move towards trying to make their local transportation mediums feed into mass transportation. And I think, we should have that same attitude as we go forward, employing our CITT dollars. I think if we're going to start a dialogue with the three towns, we should keep an eye on possibly getting people from the three towns to mass transit somehow or another to kind of complete the circle.
I can tell you that our trolley, our bus, where we take our passengers, they can jump onto transfer to other Miami-Dade County buses. There are other transfer points there. And they run on a more frequent basis than our one bus. In the meetings that I've had with the Surfside and Bal Harbor, we have invited CITT. They have participated in these meetings, and now what we're looking to do is just bring in Miami-Dade Transit so we can conduct a study. We're hoping that they do the study since they have the personnel and the expertise, so that we can integrate that and make it more of a, how do they call it, of a feeder kind of system that it will feed into their transit system. So that, yes, we are, that's the goal, that's the end goal. But the way I'm writing these contracts, we have an out clause, 60 days written notice for any reason. So, if a year from now, 2 years from now, we want to reinvent, some fancy new bus comes out, we want it.
But don't we have that now with just you have the ability to extend it?
Yeah, absolutely. The current contract that we have is 3 years with 2 1-year extensions. And again, if we keep if the council says, you know what, let's just hold on to our bus, we got our bus back, let's hold on. And if in 6 months from now our bus starts zonking out or whatever, and we can just say, hey, we're going out to bid again, and we'll go out to bid.
Well, why don't we get a bus that, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's ADA compliant?
Our current bus is ADA compliant.
Does it handle wheelchairs?
It does. It has a
Okay.
wheelchair lift.
And if we get a hybrid, or we get something that, looking towards, conserving, or, an energy efficient bus, we're still pretty much around the 80,000, right?
I don't know. We'll only know when our prices come back in. I can say that when I went out to bid 3 years ago on this, I asked for 3 alternate bids. I asked for the bus that we got, and then I asked for a price for it was a hybrid vehicle, a hybrid bus, and what was the other? There was another.
Biodiesel?
The biodiesel, I'm sorry. The biodiesel bus. And I don't think that the response that we got, they didn't give us a price for hybrid. They said it was too cost prohibitive. And then the biodiesel was much more expensive than the regular engine, the diesel, the low sulfur diesel bus that we ended up getting. So, based on that, we went with the current contract.
We have some public comments.
I know, I just want to say one
All
thing.
right, go ahead.
Can we wrap the bus in another color so that A, it stands out, and B,
We
it's
can.
more visible?
I can write anything into
White, it's ugly.
I can write in anything into the contract, but it's all what we want to pay for. If I want to get a blue bus, white buses are less expensive. Now we can wrap it with colors and.
Like Aventura has that red and blue sailboat, that's what I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
something.
All right. Victor Maya, please.
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street. I think the service that we have is really, really good. I've ridden around on the bus several times with my father. One question that I do have that would impact, potentially your bid, and the price coming in is, we run a little loop and then a big loop. And so I am curious as to just how much usage there is, on the portion of the bus going from Biscayne Boulevard all the way up to the Costco and back. That is very time consuming, it's very long, And I think that we get more bang for our buck. I mean, I still think going over the bridge, you know, is something that needs to be done, you know, so you can go over the bridge and you can make a stop at the LA Fitness and all the restaurants that they've opened up there, and come back around, you know, to the Walgreens, you know, and all the shops there, and then just come back. You know, but if there's a lot of use, you know, if a lot of people are going to all the way to the Costco, it just seems that the Costco, you know, with bulk shopping, you know, is very difficult to do, you know, when you're having to carry everything back onto the bus.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm just asking if we have statistics on how many people we take to...
We get daily boardship counts, and I can say that I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop the clock. That stop is just not the Costco. There's a big Publix over there, and that's a very big popular one. We just end up going to Costco, and some people do go to the Costco, but it's kind of like the same stop, 2 stores, 1 stop, if you understand what I'm saying.
But do we need to stop at 2 Publixes? I'm just saying, if you're looking at the costs of you know, trying to, you know, I understand one is bigger and newer and whatever, but...
Based on the numbers, yes, that's
okay, that's what I was asking.
And if I may also point out that our ridership has gone up.
Since this, yeah, right. Number, Captain K, number 14.
My name is Kathleen Kennedy at 9721. Mr. Mayor, I respectfully ask that you respect every council person sitting up here and don't dismiss them. That is not nice. Okay? She was elected by the people too. And for you to dismiss her is not correct.
Are you going to discuss the item, Mrs. K?
Now I'm going to talk about the item.
Very good.
Okay? I think that, first of all, I want to thank you again, J.C., for putting that bus back out. I did check it, it's very, very nice. Isn't Linda Zilba on the Transportation Committee or Trust? Shouldn't she have some say in this? Have you talked to her, J.C.?
I've spoken a number of times on this issue.
Does she have anything to add?
No, she doesn't have anything to add, because we are already collecting money from the CITT as far as where she's involved with.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Didn't Linda commit to helping us get the lights synchronized?
If we had any specific traffic lights, you said if there's any
If you
traffic
have any
lights.
specific traffic lights, the 3, you know...
Come on, there's 4. Come on, there's 4 lights. Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, the 4 traffic
Want to
lights.
change
I mean, literally, I mean, last night, I went from one red light to the other red light. I mean, it must have taken...
You caught all 4?
Out of the
You gotta call Linda. Well, there you go.
Can someone contact her about that?
Yeah, I mean, we have, after that time,
We did contact the county and just asked them, and they said, can you look at our timing? And they said, yeah, we look at it all the time, and...
We look at it all the time, we're not doing anything about it, but we look at it all the time.
Now my question is, you want to move forward? I mean, there is a risk if we do out the bid.
I'd like to say that, because I've talked to staff about this, and to be honest, I can't support an item that I believe is going to cost us more money for getting literally the same service. I mean, what staff hasn't told us is that almost every single city uses the same company. You know, how many cities use the same company? It's almost all of them, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes.
I know this. You have to understand, I know this item, I know CITT, I've worked in transit. I can tell you right now that putting this out is going to cost us more money, and we're going to get, I mean, what I would be interested in finding out is not changing the contract, but perhaps investing that money and perhaps wrapping it in a different color. I mean, I don't see any reason why you have to cancel the contract and say, listen, what if we paid to have it wrapped in a different color and have a better looking bus? Because to be honest, what are we really asking for? If we were going to be asking for a larger bus or a biodiesel bus or something like that, that would be a different question. But the reality is we're going to end up with the same bus that we have now, and the bus is only, 3 years old?
3 years old.
3 years old. It's not really an old bus. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but I can't support what I think, and staff, if you ask staff right now, they're going to tell you they think the price is going to go up, and we're going to get the same thing. So, other than that, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
The truth is that the beauty of the contract, the way it is that for the last 2 years, we have a known cost. It's not going to go up, and
Well, let's see if we can wrap it. And then that will make it look, you know.
That makes sense.
Let's
But
see.
to,
See if Publix will pay for the wrap time, otherwise we're dropping to one store.
Yeah,
If it's, we're going to Whole Foods, it says Whole Foods unless you wrap at Publix. It says Publix across the side in big letters.
You know, sometimes.
They'll be happy, they'll wrap it all day long.
We need to.
Okay, so can we kill this? Sorry, thank you. All right, come to please.
Item 15, discussion requested by Councilmember Morano regarding a cohesive concept for the Causeway Island, which includes an entrance feature and some passive park features and an island median, on the island's median. Enclosed, you have the information, and a sample message sign to be placed on King Concourse.
All right, Ms. Morano?
Okay.
Right.
I mean, basically, this is kind of out of order, but it's, I'm looking at a 5-year plan here. It's not something that's, you know, I have set in stone. I'm trying to have a vision of the causeway and to try and tie it into the sign here in Kane Concourse. So the first picture here is the sign that perhaps we could put on Kane Concourse for our town meetings, keeping this mosaic, blue mosaic throughout. The next signs, and again, there could be all kinds of variations. These, the ones with Bay Harbor and Shepherd Broad Causeway as the entrance of the causeway, they could be separated, they could be in a wall, they could, this is just me cutting and pasting. So this is just to start the conversation here. Bay Harbor Islands, the other sign with Shepherd Broad is kind of like the Eden Village sign. You know, you could have them very low to the ground, off to the right on the entrance of the causeway from North Miami, or you could do them tall like this, one on top of the other, but it would be lighted, again, similar to Eden Rock. And again, it's just an idea. But if you look at the map, I would like to see the entranceway sign, and then moving in on the Causeway Park, if you would look at the observation tower, which at the top would say Bay Harbor Islands. You could have it either where it has access, as almost like an exercise ramp, which also could be ADA with wheelchairs, and that would be nice for them to actually get up there to the top to look over the water. Or you could leave it without and just have an observation tower that lights up at night, different colors. And again, that other thing would be kind of like a benches that would match the observation tower, with solar panels where at night it could light up, just like they have in the bus benches. And then over on the knoll, you would have the, oh, you guys can't probably see, over on the, no, they can't. On the knoll, would have the rock waterfall kind of thing going, and a reflection pond. And then moving on, I'm hoping, and I'm trying to talk to a few people about water taxis, or a ferry out to the, that would be the station, that is the last page. That could be the circle, if you look at the map, that would be near the gas station. And they can sit there and have coffee or a sandwich shop. It would could be for the people either that are in the park or that are waiting for the ferry. And I think that the shuttle from the garage could have people park in the garage and then take the shuttle over to the ferry station in order to go downtown, to go to work, or up to Aventura. And again, it's just a concept.
We have public comment. Mr. Maya?
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street. And Ms. Morano, I didn't get a chance to really study everything that you put together, but I wanted to thank you for taking the time and the effort, you know, to looking at least starting a discussion to do something a little bit more, you know, with that land, looking out, you know, 3 to 5 years when that lease is up at the gas station. What are we going to do with that? You know, and kind of looking forward as to what we can do out there. And we may ultimately decide not to do anything, you know, maybe just have grass and that's it. But at least you've made an effort here, and you've done it on your own. And I very, very much appreciate that. And I hope to continue, that we have continued, you know, discussion and look at, you know, viable, you know, options for that Causeway Island, because I think it's a great opportunity that we have. We're going to have 2 hotels now, 2 big hotels, on King Concourse, and what, you can get the tourists up, cross over the bridge, you get them on one of those taxis or ferries to go to Bayside, to look at all the houses and whatnot, in and out. You have parking area there. You have so many different things, that can be done. So, for a first shot through, and I know, or at least I can tell that just wasn't slapped together, that there was thought, put into it. And I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Catherine Kennedy.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kennedy. Doris, I want to congratulate you too, because it shows that you care. Coming in from the King Concourse, from Keystone, we have no identification in our town where we're going. We have no name. It's only coming in from Bell Harbor. So I think this is really beautiful. I love the idea of the tower. It just looks peaceful. It's different. It fits right in with the island, a tower. It really looks very, very good. I'm surprised that it's not on the televisions here. It would have been nice, Marlene, had you put this up on the television for everybody to see. But it's really, really something that we all should consider. A council person took time out to give a vision of our town, and for this, I want to thank you.
Mrs. Newhart.
Frances Newhart. I too would like to thank Doris, because I also think it's very beautiful what she has done. And like Victor said, and I know for a fact, she worked very hard on this, so I think it should be open for discussion afterwards. But there's some issues here that I don't hear being discussed, and that's the sample message sign. I'm tired of seeing that construction sign being used as our message sign outside on the King Concourse. And I did see some. I'm hoping that we will get a nice message sign where we can read it, like when you go past North Beach over there, you see the sign at the community center there. It's beautiful. So I hope we get something that people can read and go to meetings and see what's going on in this town. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and maybe I misunderstood, but we consider that Causeway Island a municipal land. That belongs to the people. And we are going to have a lot of construction here, and a lot of our access to Biscayne Bay is eliminated very quickly. So what I'm trying to say is, and this goes for Ron, there is maybe 1 or 2 parking spaces or parking lots out there. I hope you don't destroy them. I don't know how you got that other one destroyed. And if we're thinking about a community center out there, I would prefer if the community center, the community center is staying in this garage. I would rather have town hall with access to the people in the garage, and let us build a community center out there. I mean, why do we have to be in this car garage? I think that's awful. So, good luck with your signs, and I hope that they get passed. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. All right, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
Do you not want me to?
No, you can start.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Again, thank you for putting this together. I do, there's certain aspects I like. I'm a little concerned about, because there's so much traffic over there. I love the reflection pond. I like the idea of having a water taxi. I think is like an amazing idea. I would love it. I'm sure my kids would love it too. My only concern is the tower. I'm a little concerned about the tower, but I do think that we need, I know that we are working on a design, right, Ron, for the entrance, the signage out there that's going to be our town?
We had 3 proposals. I put them on hold so that you could see
Right.
this one. and I'll be directed, because the other one was I put it out to public, and this really didn't fall, it fell outside the time limit. I will have to do it again, just if you want to include what we have here.
Well, okay, so I'm for I don't know how we go about helping for the water taxis, but I think that's something that if that's, a possibility, I think that's a great possibility. I like
We
that-
wouldn't be providing a water tax. It would
No,
be,
no, no.
it would be a private enterprise.
Right, but
that
I'm
would have
saying that we
places to
would
go.
provide the area for them to be able to do that. I love the reflection pond. I think it's very soothing. I think it's, and, right, and I also personally would love a sign out there, at the entrance, because a lot of people in our town use that to come in and out. It's a great way to notify people of everything that's going on in the town. It's not on St. Carpus. It's not going to be distracting to the pedestrians that
Oh, I
are here.
understand. But just so I know, we had 3 proposals. You didn't see really, other than seeing them in the package, which we deferred. So,
Right, I'm
We'll get to
I'm
that.
just giving
Okay.
you my
Oh, yeah.
perspective.
Right. I have a comment, I have a question, because it's been alluded by several of the people that you did this. Just out of curiosity, you did this is your item, you put this together, you created this from scratch, right?
Well, with someone, yes.
I'm sorry, who did this with you?
Someone.
I'm sorry?
She's not asking for payment.
No, I'm not, I'm just asking.
Someone
I'm just
helped me, someone helped me, and I cut and pasted, as you can see.
I'm sorry, the reason why I ask is because, originally this was,
You're asking.
the reason why I'm asking is because the original individuals that applied for that contest, it's something that's a public record. People have presented as far as their work product, who actually did the work product. I'm just asking, you're a member of the council. I mean, you are held to even you're held to even a higher standard than the average public. I'm just asking for the record, who actually put this agenda item together? That's all. You created this.
I cut and pasted and then cut, this is a picture that I've taken up in
you
New
created
York,
this.
okay?
I'm not really understanding what is the purpose.
Yeah,
The purpose is that
understand where you're
we're held to the same standard. I'm just asking for the record.
I'm not charging the town.
Okay.
You have 2 that were in with the time limit, and that's where he's
We extend,
come in with them.
If somebody else has to make a request for something, that's their business. I don't think there's a need to go after.
Okay, no, I'm just,
I'm not
okay.
charging you.
All right, let me just state for the record my comments. I have some serious concerns about this. Excuse me. I have some serious concerns about how this is done. One of the concerns that I have is in regards to the concept of having individuals walking in the interior of the streets. When you have people that are actually, they're jogging or riding their bicycles, they're on the exterior. There's no ability for someone to actually walk across the street without crossing a state road. And I have some real reservations about any type of item within the interior of the Causeway Island where someone would actually have to cross a state road. I think it's inherently dangerous, and staff has recommended to us several occasions over the course of many years that there could be some not only liability, but also the fact is that we could potentially have some problems. Second of all...
Well, wait, can I answer that for you? Because I really didn't get into a lot of detail on this, because I was kind of giving you an overview. But I can tell you how people would get across there and how they would be able to cross to the ferry.
What you mentioned, let me just get into you mentioned in regards to the ferry, and you also inferred as far as the bus service, and I'll get into all that. If you want to comment, that's fine. In regards to the bus service, and I assume that's how they would get there, I don't think that's very feasible. And not only that, I don't think that the outlook of the future of the Causeway Island is not to create more traffic and more individuals walking in that area, considering it is a state road and it's a high traffic area. And I'm sure the people that reside in the homes and the people that are in the surrounding area don't want to have that increased traffic. That's not the intent, I think, of a small community here. We always talk about how we want low density, we want less. having more foot traffic and quote-unquote tourism is not what I envision for the Causeway Island.
So you don't want tourism?
For the Causeway Island, I don't think that that's really the intent of what it was intended to be by the people that made this community. And the water taxi, to be honest, is a public-private or private partnership that, to be honest, most of the other water taxis that seem to be going out in the community, I question the feasibility as far as their economic viability. But the question is, why would someone want to come to the Causeway Island to just be there? I'm sorry, I can't support any of this, and no disrespect to you, I just can't.
Stop me, please. Please stop me.
Well, no,
Please
you know
stop.
what, I'm sorry, but this is not very well thought out, and I don't think it's very viable, I'm sorry.
You
But
are
will-
unbelievable.
George, we're running short of time tonight. Can I make a couple comments on this?
This is really becoming a problem.
Let me just,
Folks
okay, guys,
in the audience,
excuse me.
please, come on, we want to wrap this up this evening.
George, I think it's a good start for some of the things. I'm not positive I love everything. I love parts of it. I do say I love the sign, the informational sign, the sign here. I think that's fantastic. The location.
And again, it could change a little bit, but
No, I think it's
concept of it.
distinct. I like that. It gives us the right style. I like that.
And I
I
think
didn't
if
like
you-
just having a plain sign without any kind of border. I really like the design there. We'll have to figure out exactly where the location, because I know we've all debated 100 times where it'll be placed or where the two of them will be placed, but that's secondary. So I do want to tell you,
Thank you,
I do
Josh.
love that design. The rest of the stuff, I think we'll just, they're definitely, there are parts of it I love, parts of it I think can change, but it's...
Again, this this was a start of a conversation. That's what this is.
Right,
This
and I-
isn't that it's set in stone.
Right, but I think it's a
the
very- I think it's a
start
very
of
good
a
start.
conversation, and I would like to keep moving forward. Like you say, I was doing my message board sign, I was trying to do the entrance sign and tie it in with the causeway. That's what Mr. Salver said last time. We can't decide on the sign unless we know what's going on.
With the
So
message
this
board, I
is
hope it
where-
starts and stops there, because I really do like that sign.
Okay, as far as the island and the foot traffic goes, that's exactly what I want out there, is foot traffic and people biking, jogging, walking, running, whatever they want to do to get out there. And I think we should do whatever we can in order to get them out there. You wouldn't like to go out there and just sit and read a book next to that reflection pond and look out at the boats? There's a sandwich shop there. The way I figure this is there's two drop-offs, and you can't tell on this because this is so small. On the larger one, you could have told. There's a drop-off that comes from the north side to the south side by that tower, where there's a little ramp there, and that's where a person in a wheelchair could actually be dropped off by our shuttle, and that's why I want to tie it in with our buses having ability of a wheelchair to be picked up by our shuttles and dropped here at the tower, and they could actually, if we had the snail kind of tower, they could actually go up to the top. The other drop-off would be at the ferry station, behind where the gas station is.
Again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know we're short on time, but I just want to say this. I see where you're going on it. I think it is a discussion for a later time. I think it's a good start. As far as, drop-offs and that's just something I think it's a much larger conversation, because we have to deal with whether we want people out there, and if we do, then changing on the bus schedule and all that. Just saying, it's a longer, more in-depth discussion. I think it's a good start.
Okay, well, there's two more things for people out there. There's actually the crosswalks, which I didn't get of the picture here, which they have at Mount Sinai Hospital, they have on Biscayne Boulevard, where when a person does come up to that street, can push a button and the light flashes that the traffic has to stop. And again, how many people are going to be out there, how often? On weekends, we should try and close a lane of the bridge so that we do have it, and we could have a policeman. Look at that nice officer over there. I bet he would love to be out there by the water, and, crossing the people over. This is what our citizens want. They want to bike over there. They're even talking about closing.
The only thing I would say is this. The only thing I say is this, before, and I don't want to get into it in depth tonight, because I know we're time.
I know, you've got your items.
Well, we've got two items. I also want to get to the noise ordinance that Kelly has, but the only thing I was going to say is, when we discuss it, just have in the back of your mind a method to get people over the bridge, if you're going to push that we're going to be over there, because there's no safe way right now to get people over the bridge. That's the only, don't
Not
answer
now.
now. I'm saying,
Not now.
just when you come back, bring that
Critical thing.
concept, however you want to do it, back to the discussion. That's all I'm saying.
And again, half that edge of the bridge can come over, and we could have at least one,
That's...
you know, there's ways.
Later time.
Kelly.
Later time.
First and foremost, I think, Isaac, you mentioned it, Doris, you've mentioned it, we need a holistic approach and not to pick a little piece here and a little piece there. That's the healthiest thing. You've given us some really good options. We've had some other signs. And every time I look at that beautiful piece of land, it looks to me like it could be some kind of a park. Now, coming from my law enforcement background, I totally understand, you know, the fact that it's a state road, it is a higher speed than others, so there are going to be some challenges to make it safe, but I'm sure with a planner like we have and, you know, some other, right? Mr. Miller, you're chomping at the bit, you have all kinds of good ideas there, I'm sure. Yeah, I think, you know, it could definitely be worked out into something, but the features are nice, and a lot of people in the community are asking for this. They're really asking for the access. Now, just a quick note on style. And, you know, we all have a different style, and then we all, you know, can lose our patience every once in a while. And I went through this with Jordan also. Jordan, you have a very peculiar leadership style, and I ask you, implore you, to please, you know, just take a look introspectively a little bit, cut Doris a break. You know, she's the newest one here. We all started someplace. You started someplace first, so you're very experienced in government. You know, you've been on the council a long time. But, you know, she's also a lady, so please respect.
I'm sorry. You know, just so you know, I mean, excuse me, you know,
No, you're in the doghouse.
you know, what I will tell you is that obviously all seven of us are all equals. There's no one person that has any more decision-making ability when it comes to a vote is a vote is a vote, and we all know this. But that does not change my opinion of it. I'll certainly take another look at it, obviously. You know, on the contrary, you know, how many items have you brought up personally that I've actually voted for?
Sometimes, but
Right.
sometimes I got that treatment in the beginning, too.
I think it's the tone.
You know what the thing is? I'm sorry, and you know what, Ms. Morano, you know, I'm not trying to be rude and whatnot, and I don't want to be overly aggressive, but I have to say that I think that all of us on here on the council are held to a standard where I don't feel comfortable supporting something where I know, because you've admitted that this is, you know, when I put an agenda or someone else puts an agenda forward, you know, it's either from me or it's from council, or, I mean, from staff or whatnot, but, you know, it's clear that this is not something that is just it's not something that you did, and I feel uncomfortable with that whole
We're going to
concept.
do this again. I'm sorry, because we've got like 10 minutes left.
And 2 items left.
Can't we make a motion for 15 minutes now?
No, it doesn't work that way. It has to be second, we have to have whatever's going on at 11 o'clock, that's it.
So how
Otherwise,
do
we're
we
back
move this
tomorrow.
forward? What about the message board? Can we
I think that we should
discuss it the next
have
time?
the town manager come back. I think that we, you know, our planner come back with some ideas. Take what Doris has given us, work around it, and see what Mike, you know.
Well, does everybody like design? Okay. Can we at least look, this is the sign that'll be the message.
The informational message board.
That is something we can, you know, we can work with. The entranceway sign is a whole nother animal. How do you want to go with that?
Can we get pricing on the message board? I mean, does anybody else?
No, the message board is one thing, I'm just
Right.
saying the entranceway is a different thing.
I think we should sort of add it into our base, because we have so many options, but we're still not done putting the whole thing together, right?
You want to just put these signs against the other ones that he's going to present next time?
I have to put this out to bid again. Not to bid, but request for proposals.
So can I make a suggestion that we, you know, either you show this to the people who are coming so that they can look at this to get, you know, because it has to be cohesive. We can't have
Put the hodgepodge of everything else, right?
Show it to who? You said the people who were...
I put this out to bid for different,
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean?
no,
No, it's already done. He's got...
I have 3, I'd have to put it out together. I mean,
We're gonna have some time, how about some displays out, I'm not kidding, but at picnic? I'm not, it's just, if we have a few different, I mean, we're not going to get this thing done yet. I mean, we're not going to get this thing done realistically in January or by February, but so pushing up those months where we have most of the town sitting out there, if we have a couple displays just to get some general feedback, more people will have people to comment on it.
Entranceway?
Probably this,
Entranceway? You want to wait that long, though?
it's going to be a month or two short of that anyway, so we're only really delaying it. I mean, we're not going to get anything done with this
Well,
completed.
once you get it okay, then you have to put it out to bid.
I understand, but it's...
No, the way it would work,
It's almost impermanent.
the way it would work on an entranceway sign is whatever, the whole idea was to get the concept. And then we would have to have it engineered. Someone had to design the plans how to build it. And then it would have to be built. So that's going to be, it'll be time. So,
It's just no way to get some,
I mean,
unless we're going to work up and really get
if
people
you
in.
want opinions, then think of another way to do it quicker, that's all I'm saying. I don't care if you ask, about
I've got a lot
design.
of people talk to me about it, but my point is, if we're trying to get people to comment, this is going to be a significant, thing for the town.
So what do you want to do?
can I just suggest something? And since this is like a master plan kind of a thing, maybe we should try to get a proposal for a master plan,
That's what I'm saying.
okay? And then work backwards. I mean, and honestly, you should have a feasibility to look at doing this, because there's, I've had the kids out there doing the shoreline cleanup for a couple of years. It's an exciting thing going across the highway, because they're moving 30, and not everybody's doing that. The old idea to move the toll plaza was to get the cars to come.
Laura, just, when Jackie Abraham came here, and he, for the benefit of the Kane Concourse shop owners, we started talking to FDOT about
3 times.
crossing,
Study.
just crossing the quiet, the quiet part of the street, like, because our blocks are huge,
Right.
to make like a crosswalk in the middle of the block, because people were traipsing through it anyway.
They
said no.
And they said absolutely
Well, I
not.
think
So I
that's the
think,
first thing
just
we need to
any,
do.
right,
Is talk to
any,
Matt and see if
any,
they're even
any
interested
proposal
in more
to
creative.
cross to have a pedestrian crosswalk against the causeway.
The other thing to notice, that we all don't notice, is how the land undulates there, and it's designed for drainage.
Right,
And
it's drainage.
to make it more usable, we'd have to make it more flat, and that's something you'll have to deal with.
Well, let's go.
Just to let you know.
I think we
And-
should start
Right.
with the, we have to first see if they'll even let us do it, because Isaac's right, when we wanted to do the cross,
They
we went
against it.
3 times, and 3 times they shot us down. So before we do anything else, we have to find out if they will even allow us, because we don't own those.
But I'd also ask one more question, as long as you're discussing it with them. And again, I'm not advocating this, I'm just saying this is a possibility. If they won't do the crosswalks, how about moving one of the roads over towards the other to create a park area on the side? So that you wouldn't need a crosswalk, but you would have a larger spot.
Now, wait.
So it's just a conversation point.
Someone also brought up the point to me, which again, I'm not going into everything, that one side, you could cut off that edge and put a new road alongside this, the south road, and then leave that road there for a bicycle path.
Well, that's pretty much what I'm saying, except you're just saying just leave the path. I mean, that's-
Leave the path, have a bicycle path.
One road instead of
Right.
2.
But also, in the case of a hurricane, you'd have 3 roads going out to Mel's.
All roads lead out during hurricanes.
Why don't we bring this up, why don't we bring this up again next month, because it's obviously not going to get resolved. Why don't we just bring it up again, and we'll do that as far as to continue the conversation.
Well, with the information sign, do I have to make a motion to find out how much, what was?
What we have to do is bring it to our signs guy and say this is...
But no matter what, I'd like to bring it up again for discussion. I want to discuss it again next month.
Where was the information sign, is the information sign shown on this map?
I think it's the first page, the first page.
No, I know, that's just a picture of it. Right, so you still
I'm not telling you
where to put it. Okay, right.
That may change for the
I would like to bring this back for discussion next
Then you're
month.
going to
Can
say,
we please,
okay, this is a nice sign.
right, can we please put this back on the agenda for next?
So we're going to bring it back.
Continue our discussion.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Then the talk's over.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Second, and for the record, Ms. Morano, I don't mean to be rude or cruel, and if I was intended to be that way, I do apologize. I want you to know that sincerely, okay? All right? And we're bringing it back.
That mean we're back here tomorrow night?